Before you listen, imagine a small mountain town where time seems to move a little slower, where memories linger in the winter air, and where first love never truly fades. From best-selling Christian fiction author Betty Lowrey, A Heart Waits Forever is a story of love interrupted, dreams shattered by family interference, and two hearts separated by pride, pain, and 20 long years. Florence once believed she had left Mosby and Adam behind forever, but some loves don't disappear. They wait. Now she has returned. And the man she once planned to marry is standing before her again, carrying regret, longing, and a heart that never stopped hoping. In this brief audio teaser, you'll step into a story of second chances, faith, forgiveness, and the kind of love that refuses to die. Close your eyes. Let the mountains of Mosby surround you. And listen, because sometimes a heart waits forever. New York City skyscrapers in the distance, posh condominiums only the rich can afford, tucked discreetly into tree-lined streets, compete with hotels with suites that offer all the amenities. Midtown Manhattan provides Park Central, positioned near Central Park, Times Square, and Carnegie Hall, within walking distance to Rockefeller Center and the theater. Wrapped in mystery of times past, direct contact with the reservation team at the hotel for a timeless stay is a given, which means the hotel team will delve into one's own history, tied to the city, and future worth to the facility. No question is left unspoken. A select few are allowed to call Park Central home. Florence Stokely has made her mark in the business world. She longs to return to a simpler life, as remembered from her youth, visiting a cousin in Mosby, Tennessee, a small community located near the foothills of the Eastern Mountain Range. She has stepped out of the usual think everything through mode, which she is known for, and made a decision that will change her life completely, from business dress to the social whirl of cocktail parties that she viewed as prospects. Hopefully, change and location will restore the health that has suffered abuse from too much work and very little rest over the last 5 years. Her brilliant son can take the reins of the company and operate the business from any place in the world he chooses, by phone, computer, or personal attention if needed. She has faith in Matthew and trusts him completely. At 25 years old, he is a genius. At 45 years of age, tall, slim as a model, and dressed as one, Florence turns heads. She has not lost the beauty she never imposed on to win battles, as she was never one to believe her appearance was anything but simple, tall, and gangly, but years of effort, perhaps. She finds herself hoping she is graceful, as others always said. Hours into the journey from New York to Mosby, Tennessee, are increasingly tiring. Florence passes several vehicles stalled or upended in banks of snow along the interstate. Florence, Lord, help us all. That very thing could happen to me, just a few more miles. Please. Arrives at the inn, Mosby, Tennessee, foothill to the Great Eastern Mountains. The parking lot is congested. Travelers seeking rooms until the storm settles and the interstate reopens. Florence joins the throng of animated travelers discussing personal encounters on the way to Mosby. Traveler, we are just happy this inn had a billboard on the outskirts. In the distance, granted, but we saw it. From what I'm hearing, though, there are problems. Florence, problems? Oh my. I think I'd better put my name in before I lose out on a room. Confronts a weary-looking young woman wearing a name tag, manager, and beneath, Deidre. The two begin conversing. People begin to gather around. Several are asking for water. Florence, what do you mean you have no water? As in, to drink, to cook, to flush toilets? Deidre, the winter storm was upon us before we could bring in additional supplies. Sighs wearily. We do have a neighboring business just up the hill that always has enough to share. That is drinking water, not for the other. But we do have a reserve for a few days for housekeeping. It's just that I cannot leave, to go up the hill, to the club, wistful hoping in her voice. I know Joe would help us, but I can't go. Florence, give me directions. I'll go. You said his name is Joe? Back in the Jeep, Florence begins the drive up the hill to the club run by a man named Joe. After explaining to a young woman, Florence supposes to be a well-dressed waitress, she meets Joe. A tall man with a twinkle in his eye has been summoned, wearing an apron over a tux. Joe, let me guess, Deidre sent you. The inn is out of water. Shaking head as a second man comes from the back. She's done it again, TJ. Deidre has no water for the inn. You can bet the owner is somewhere soaking up the sun, left her to run the place, and has no funds with which to... Oh, well, that's not our business. Help me load a few, will you? While Joe and Thomas load LG bottles of water into the Jeep, Florence waits, observing discreetly a lone guest sitting in the darker area of the club. The outline of his person reminds her of someone from the past when she came summers to Mosby to visit her cousin, and when he gives a slight cough and says a few words to Joe as he passes by with another box of water. She seems to remember a voice from those days. Could it be? No, she reasons, never. Two people reluctantly help unload the water. The young man seems willing, but his father is complaining. There are more problems. Florence inquires, finding a bleary-eyed Deidre trying to make coffee now that there's water. Florence, are there other problems? If so, do you mind sharing with me? The roads are all blocked due to snow and the frigid temperature. My help cannot make it in. Delivery service will not run. In other words, daily maintenance is a no-go. The complaining man. What do you mean? The complaining man has stepped up to overhear conversation. Florence, I assume she means what she says. The employees cannot drive in due to the weather. The complainer walks away grumbling. Florence asks a question. Florence, is there more? Deidre, isn't that enough? Mosby Inn, early morning, guests beginning to stir. Hearing noise in the corridor, Florence awakens to dress and hurry to the breakfast area, finding a lone person, Deidre trying to cope with a room full of hungry travelers. Florence, where are the gloves? Point out the stations for what I need to know. Complaining man arrives with his son. I don't get why you are doing this. You'd think you have an interest in this sorry place. Florence snaps. You could get off your high horse and be thankful the inn was here, and you didn't spend your night in a cold car that ran out of gas on the side of the road. And you could help. Think on that. Complaining man a few minutes later. Listen up, folks. I admit, I've grumbled and complained my 2 cents, but it was pointed out to me that I could have spent the night freezing on the side of the road. So why don't we all chip in and help our little Miss Manager? How can we do that? We can tidy our own room, flush our own toilets, and be sparing with the water reserved for that. And we can use our towels carefully, say an extra day, until our little Miss Manager has an answer to maintenance and such. Hurrahs, agreement, to do their part, follow his speech. He glances Florence way. She gives a roll of the eye and looks up to heaven. Everyone seems to stop complaining for a while. The breakfast chores are finished. Going to her room, Florence encounters Deidre hurrying toward her, carrying a bag that appears to contain a heavy snowsuit for an adult, boots and gloves. A note accompanies the clothing. The note reads, Florence, Nancy Ann here. You can trust TJ. Put the clothes on and get her fast. I'm waiting. I'm sure he will be in the lobby or outside keeping your ride running. Florence, fully dressed, whispers, Please, tell me, it's not a horse. Waiting just outside the door to the lobby of Mosby Inn, TJ appears. TJ. Hey there, brave lady, that came up the hill for water last night. Nancy Ann sent me to bring you to Safe Haven. Florence. Who are you that I'm supposed to go riding off into the sunset? TJ. Thomas James, son to Miss Nancy so-and-so in her second marriage. Florence. I didn't know Nancy had a son, eyeing TJ with squinted eyes, nor remarried. TJ. She did has, grins foolishly. You two should keep in touch. Come on. You can work that out later. Your chariot awaits your presence. With trepidation, Florence follows TJ to a snowmobile, and after much coaxing sits behind TJ, hanging on to TJ as they bounce over field after field. Florence wonders, where is the road? Across the way she sights Chatham Mansion, and 20 years from last seeing the mansion. At the moment her heart aches. Momentarily, she checks it off as thinking, the man in the club last evening sound like Adam Chatham, and the mannerisms were also his. But seeing the mansion brings such heavy nostalgia she wants to cry, jump off the snowmobile and die. She vowed never to say the Chatham name with reverence again, but still, memory refuses the vow, and the one night they'd had together after Adam's parents disrupted their plans, demanding their son marry some socialite from New York to save her name because she was having another man's child. The family believed the child's father unlikely to fit into their prominent family. They arrive at Safe Haven. Nancy Ann is waiting for Florence. Florence falls into Nancy Ann's arms. Sensing some deep hurt has caused Florence tears, she pulls her away from the others. Nancy Ann. What's wrong? Tell me before anyone is with us. What has happened? Florence. His house. Sobs, keeping face into Nancy Ann's shoulder. Adams. Nancy Ann. TJ doesn't know the story, Fleur. Uses Florence's childhood name. Florence. I made myself believe after all these years he would not be here. Tell me he is not here. I couldn't bear it. He's off in some foreign country with his Charlotte. Nancy Ann. No, Fleur. He has spent the last 5 years refurbishing Chatham House. He is a morning regular at the inn for coffee, where you are staying, holds Fleur as she sobs. Florence. I assumed he would be in some foreign country with his wife and daughter. Nancy Ann. There is no Charlotte, and though he loved the child, she took her away. He is a lonely man, Fleur. His life has been nothing but sadness, losing you. Florence. I don't want to see him, ever. He could have left. He did not have to marry her. Nancy Ann. Fleur. You know he thought he was saving his parents' life. Charlotte's parents threatened him. A Heart Waits Forever, written by Betty Lowrey, is available on Amazon.com and other online retailers. Grab your copy now.